everyone, and welcome to Connections Resource Center. I'm Nat, and I'm the Connections Community and Outreach, actually Communications and Outreach Coordinator. And I have here with me Michelle Hegge from the Chelsea Forest School. Welcome, Michelle, and thank you for coming.
Hi, and thank you for having me.
This is really great having you here. We've actually had a lot of people ask us, what is a forest school? So we're just wondering, because I know that a lot of us know what a forest school is, but we'd love to hear from you how your school works.
Okay, well, first of all, forest schools are wonderful. That's all I have to say about it. They're wonderful. You get to be outside all day. So forest schools, it's child-led, play-based learning in nature. And ideally repeated access to nature. So it's different from a field trip in the sense that you don't go to an outdoor place for just one day or one afternoon. You're going to the same outdoor space. The children are coming to the same outdoor space every week. So they're developing a connection with the nature in that space. They're seeing it over time. For example, our programs run from September to June in normal years, from September to June through the year. So they see their space, the nature space, the forest, the pond. In the fall, they see it through the winter and all the changing weather in the wintertime. They see it in the spring. And then again, if they come to summer camp in the summertime. And when I say play-based, it means that's what we do. We play outside, we play in nature, and so much learning happens during that play.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I feel like going to the forest school as well. It sounds like a lot of fun, and the kids must love playing outside and learning outside as well.
Oh, they do. And I mean, you get different children who are gung-ho and children who are a little leery about getting muddy or wet. But, they come around and they learn to enjoy it.
And you guys go outside, like even in the wintertime, so even when it's cold as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what I tell people is we're not a survival school. So it's not like you must be outside. I know you are frozen solid, but you must stay out here. We're based out of the Meredith Center in Chelsea, so it's a large community center. We do have an indoor classroom space in there. So when we get cold, we'll go inside. We go inside to eat our snack. We go inside to have lunch. We go inside to go to the washroom. But all the other, the playtime, the curriculum time is outside, no matter what weather. And we're learning to persevere and how to dress or undress for the weather.
For sure. Yeah, just being bundled up and whatnot is perfect. And even the coldest of weather, right? So it sounds like so much fun. Although I know now your school, you don't have any kids at the school now because of the COVID-19 epidemic. So how are you connecting with your kids?
Well, interesting being a forest school and being sort of the movement, anti-screen movement, we are now connecting with our kids on screen. We do send out every day. I send an email to the membership as well as posting on Facebook for anybody, an idea of an activity, some kind of a forest school based activity to do with the children as a prompt. It's not you must do this. It's here's an idea. Why don't you try this? I think today's was on playing the game of pickup sticks. Gather a bunch of twigs, put them in a pile and play pickup sticks. And then earlier this week, it was about listening for the frogs. And I included a link there on different sounds that frogs make. So there's that. And then we have 6 different classes. Our kids range in age from 3 years old to up to 10 years old. So we have 6 different classes, different age groups. And every week, the teachers meet with their class one time a week for about half an hour on Zoom, like everybody else is meeting on Zoom. And the idea, obviously, we can't play very well on Zoom. So it's more of to maintain that emotional, social connection, which is important for the children, because I mean, these are young children. They don't really understand what's going on, why suddenly they can't go and see their friends. So at least they get to see their friends on camera and we wave to each other. We'll sing a couple of songs. With our older children, our school age kids, we've been playing a few games like, no, my mind's gone blank. We did that. It's a game called Alibi, where basically someone leaves the room, so they literally would leave the room, and then when there's a murderer, and then they have to come back and figure out who the murderer is. So you can still do a lot of things.
Yeah, it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great way to connect when you can't really, be outside connecting at the school. And it must be really cute to see all those little kid faces as well, right?
It always makes me happy at the end of it to see my little guys, and we all wave to each other at the end. And yeah.
Now, right now, the new mantra is stay home, but that doesn't necessarily mean staying indoors. So, why is it important, do you think, for kids to continue to spend time outdoors?
Well, okay, it's always important to spend time outdoors, but
Yes,
particularly now, and I mean, people are scared, right? I mean, we're all scared and we're all worried, and what's safe and what's not safe. I think the
right.
thing to keep in mind, as long as you keep the protocols that are in place, like social physical distancing, staying 2 meters away, and staying in your own neighborhood, even in your own backyard.
Hmm.
Outside, there's nothing can be better for your child and your mental health than being outside. I mean, I know when I'm feeling blah, down, worried, I just go for a walk outside into some natural area, which is even harder these days because playgrounds are closed, no park is closed,
Yeah,
but
it
there
is
are
hard.
places. And you just feel better. Nature has a calming effect. And
It
studies,
really does.
studies have shown how it literally reduces the cortisol, which is your hormones, your stress hormone that reduces the amount of cortisol in your blood, which is reduce the stress. And children, as we said earlier, they don't understand. They don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah,
It's unknown. They don't do well. I mean, none of us do well with the unknown. No one knows what's really going to happen. Children are little barometers. No matter how well you as a parent think you're hiding your worry and your stress, kids pick up on it.
definitely. Yeah,
So giving them that time outside where they can be free, out of the
yeah.
confines of four walls. Yeah, they can play inside. Of course they can play inside. Of course they're given free time inside, but there's something about being outside and being free and just being able to be you, not
Yeah,
conventional.
and I find too that kids, when they're outside, I don't know what it is, maybe because, like you said, they're more free, they connect with nature. But I find as well, they're very creative in finding things to do, right? Or watching wildlife, or like you said, playing with sticks, like just finding something to do within nature. They just have that knack for kind of, doing that, right? Oops. I think we've had a bit of a
Absolutely. Sometimes
disconnect.
it takes time.
Oops.
Sometimes it takes time. I know we noticed with our, are we okay?
Yeah,
It's fine on
yeah.
my end.
We're good
Okay,
to
I think,
go.
okay. Times it does take, takes time for them, especially children who aren't used to having unstructured play outside. It will take time for them to get bored, for them to find things. We know even with our children at school, if we go to a new site, a new forest area, it can take upwards of 20, 30 minutes before they really settle into play and figure out what they want to do. If you give them the time and the space,
Yeah,
children are amazingly creative
they
beings.
are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, we
and
have some parents here. We have Danielle. Actually, Danielle is our executive director, and she's saying, finally, a nice day to take a walk. That's for sure. No more snow.
but what I wanted to, that's a good point, but it's also, we've had like, how's it been going? Like, nice day, rainy, yucky day, nice day, rainy, yucky day. But I've made myself get out, even because I would with the children, even in the
Mhm.
rain. And
For
you know what? I
sure.
could be dreading going outside, but you get outside and it's awesome experiencing the outside in all of the weather.
Yeah. Oh, and here's Susan saying that they walk every day. So, yeah, just like you were saying, and getting the kids out with an umbrella and just with their boots and whatnot if it's raining and whatnot. And my daughter was actually out the other day playing in the snow and she loved it, because you're not expecting it. So she spent hours outside just playing in the snow and then the water.
Wow, yeah, that's fun. That's awesome.
Now, today you're going to show us how kids can enjoy learning with maps, which I think is just a brilliant and fun thing for kids to work with. And I'm always amazed at my child's sense of orientation in our neighborhood. And children have a really strong tie to their neighborhood as well. And do you think that's important?
Oh, I think it's absolutely important. One of the things that happens through forest school, again, being that same place all the time, is that children develop a sense of place. We call it a sense of place. It's really a sense of belonging and a sense of ownership over an area. And that happens naturally through children's development. If you think about a newborn baby, basically their safety area, their sense of place is with their primary caregiver. That's their world, right?
Yes.
And as they grow and mature, it expands. It's like ripples in a pond. It expands outwards. So that leads to your neighborhood. Once they're safe in their home, they know their backyard, knowing their neighborhood, knowing that you know, that house the house three houses down, maybe they have that dog that barks at you all the time, but they know that they're secure in the fact that maybe they don't like it, but they know it's predictable. That dog is there, it's going to bark. They know that their next door neighbor always waves to them from the window when they walk by. They know where their mailbox is. They feel safe and secure. So yes, it's developing that sense of place, and it makes children feel secure. And once it's comes to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once you feel safe, learning can happen.
Which really puts the emphasis on how important, I mean, obviously your home is that safe space, but also how important your community is, right? For children and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I just wanted to say thank you, Michelle. It was wonderful chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on. And I'm going to let you show us how our kids can enjoy learning with maps. So I'm going to say bye to everyone and see you soon.
Okay, so maps. So I'm sure you know that children love maps. They love treasure maps in particular. We often use maps at school. We might introduce it as teachers will have created a basic treasure map for the children to find, often around things like Halloween. So there's some kind of nature treasure for them to find. And then the next day, what we would do is provide clipboards, just have them out there. Remember, this is for school child-led learning, which means that we're not saying, today, boys and girls, we're going to learn about maps. We're providing the materials and see where the children go with them. Sometimes we'll put out clipboards and see what happens. Invariably, they will take up those clipboards and they will start drawing. Kids, I don't know what it is. They love clipboards. They just love, I think it's the idea of being able to walk around and make it look like a real grown-up. Sometimes it becomes a restaurant menu. Sometimes it becomes a doctor's pad, but often it becomes a map. So what I would do at home and we are totally gone. There we go. Sorry, I'm back. My screen went crazy. What I would do at home is I would just lay out a bunch of maps that you have around the house. For example, today I have a road map. It happens to be Prince Edward Island because, you know, before this whole COVID-19 thing started, we were planning a trip to Prince Edward Island. COVID Island. Yeah, there's a Freudian slip. Anyway, so we've got a road map. I have a canoe route map. I have a Gatineau Park trail map. So all different kinds of maps, whatever you have lying around. What would be super great is if you had a map of your community, say a map of Elmer, a map of Hull, a map of Chelsea, a map of Wakefield. If you had one of those, that would be really awesome. Just have them out lying on the table and have some clipboards nearby. Now, chances maybe you don't have a clipboard. Maybe you've got 3 kids, only 1 clipboard. No problem. I just used a piece of cardboard, some paper clips and paper to it. Voila, you have a clipboard. Doesn't have to be big. Kids love mini clipboards because they're smaller for their smaller hands. And then just see what happens. Again, this is not, child-led is not, you're not necessarily directly teaching them a lesson, but you're provoking their interest. Let's see if they show any interest, and definitely have the maps open. Don't just have them folded up there because they're going to ignore them. They're just stuff there. Have them open. Maybe you yourself can be looking at it and going, Now, you know what? When things get back to normal, I'd like to plan a trip maybe to Prince Edward Island. If we go to Charlottetown to Summerside, I wonder how we would get there. That I wonder word is wonderful because you're not expecting an answer, but you're provoking their interest. I wonder why some of these lines are really big and dark, and some of them are really small and skinny. Or I wonder if we go on a canoe trip, how would we get to our favorite? Do you remember how we got to our favorite camping spot? This is all wonder things. You know, it's quite possible the kids might just ignore you and go on. Don't worry about it. The hardest thing is putting aside your agenda as an adult. You've got this great thing planned, and we're going to do maps, and we're going to make a treasure map, and we're going to go and map our neighborhood, and the kids have no interest. Don't worry about it. Leave them out there for a few days. You'll be surprised how often they'll wander back to it and come back to it. Then maybe go for a walk. You're going out to play outside, go for a walk. Have the clipboards available. Maybe say, does anyone want to take a clipboard with them? They do. They will probably spontaneously start making maps on their own. If they're more interested, you can go with whatever their interest is at. Older children, can they make a map of their neighborhood? Can they make a map of how to get to their friend's house? Can they make a map on how to get to the mailbox? Can they make a map for their friend and leave it on their doorstep, saying and leave a treasure for them? And the learning. So much learning happens with maps, everything from spatial awareness. How do you translate that 3D environment to a two-dimensional piece of paper? Decoding skills. How do you understand what the symbols are on the map? So that comes pre-reading, reading for your older children. Math can come into it, measuring distances. How far is it? How many hours would it take us to drive from Charlottetown to Summerside? So much learning can happen with maps. But I can almost guarantee you, it will almost always become a treasure map. I'll give you an example of what happened late this fall in our school age class at Forest School. One of our children, one of our 7-year-olds, had made a map at home of where a treasure was hidden at Forest School. And of course, there was no actual treasure, but in her mind, it was a treasure map. She brought it to school and organized all her friends to go and follow this map. And she had it complete with drawings. So at one point, we had to find a purple tree. There it was on her map, all colored in purple. Now, obviously, there wasn't really a purple tree, but it was. But all the kids bought into it. It was so much fun. She told us. Now, the map says we have to go up this cliff, so we climbed up this rock face and we looked, and lo and behold, there was the purple tree. Now, as an adult, it wasn't a purple tree, but all the kids had bought into it. It was fun. They found the purple tree, and they've searched for the treasure. When they came back, I had stayed with the children who didn't join in, and I asked, "So did you find the treasure?" "No, not yet." They weren't concerned. They hadn't found the treasure. They had so much fun following this map. So this is an idea of how, as adults, we tend to be concerned about reality and about it being accurate. And it doesn't have to be, for lots of learning to happen, for lots of fun to happen. And that's really what you want to happen. So that's your challenge. Find some maps lying around the house, maps of anything. Lay them out. Set up some clipboards. See what happens and just go with it. And thank everyone for having me today, and I hope you enjoy having some fun with maps with your children.